right, please be seated. Candidates, faculty, staff, family, and friends, welcome to the August 2024 Miami University Doctoral Hooding Ceremony and Graduation. My name is Michael Crowder, and I'm Dean of the Graduate School. This is indeed a special day, and we are pleased to have many of our doctoral graduates and their families and friends here with us today on our beautiful campus. We are also pleased that many others are joining us via live stream so that this special day can be shared by family and friends who couldn't be here in person. Because of the nature of the accomplishments of the people in this room, we are proud to offer a separate ceremony for our doctoral graduates each year. The doctoral degree is the highest academic degree offered, and this group of soon-to-be alumni deserve this special recognition. Let me introduce our platform party. Joining me today is President Gregory Crawford, 22nd President of Miami University. Dr. Renata Crawford, Miami University's Ambassador and Adjunct Professor of Physics. Dr. Elizabeth Mullinex, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Amity Noltemeyer, Interim Dean, College of Education, Health, and Society. Dr. Renee Berenstein, Dean, College of Arts and Sciences. And Dr. Kimberly Haverkos, Assistant Vice President for Academic and Student Success at Thomas More University and this year's alumni speaker. In addition to the platform party, we are assisted today by Dr. Elise Redina, Associate Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Jason Abbott, Acting Associate Dean of the Graduate School, Megan Davidson, Assistant to the Dean and Manager of Graduate Student Services, all the way in the back, and Isaac Namoa, Graduate Assistant. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Elizabeth Mullinex, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs.
Thank you, Dean Crowder. Thank you. Well, students, it's so wonderful to celebrate with you today and families. And I also want to say thank you to the faculty for your amazing mentorship of these incredible doctors. I will just share a little story as I open my remarks today that this hooding ceremony is really special to me personally. It reminds me of graduate school, which was a very important time in my life, very happy time. I made lifelong friends. I discovered my passion for research and met my husband and had my first child. And as I mentioned last year, I told this story last year that at my own hooding ceremony, I was 9 months pregnant. So I gave birth to a dissertation and to my son Tom simultaneously, which was very momentous. But I think that my committee was like, okay, get out. They were so worried that I was going to a momentous event would be happening as I was getting hooded. So very important. Graduate school, as I said, was a special time for me, professionally as well as personally. In my doctoral program, I began to understand myself in a new way as an intellectual and a creator of knowledge, not just a student of those whose work I studied. I became invested in a sense of myself as a scholar and a teacher and began to build the foundation for my career in academia. I hope that you also have discovered a passion for your discipline and its landscape of knowledge and are eager to apply this knowledge in your next season of life. I hope also that you made good friends here and I hope that those friends will now become your professional colleagues. My friends from graduate school were the ones who supported me and end up writing letters of recommendation for me and collaborating with me on research and other projects. So I hope the same is true for all of you as well. These relationships, like those with your faculty mentors, are hopefully alliances that will prove significant for the rest of your lives. And these ties are strong, no matter your chosen path. Whether you are working within the academy or within industry, your fellow Miamians who share your love for learning and ideas will, I hope, always be there for you. Speaking of the academy, it is my honor as provost to share a few words about this ceremony. In a typical hooding ceremony, your faculty mentor places your doctoral hood on your shoulders, formally welcoming you into the academy as they were welcomed by their mentors and as their mentors were welcomed throughout the ages. So the hood signifies that you are now an academic peer or a colleague. This ceremony celebrates not just your membership within an intellectual community, but your remarkable accomplishment. I say remarkable because you completed a doctoral degree, demonstrating the highest level of graduate student determination and accomplishment. Only 1.7 of adults in the U.S. have a doctoral degree. This major achievement did not, of course, happen in a vacuum. Dedicated family members and loved ones invested in you and supported you. I know that you will honor their commitment to your career by, in turn, investing in those who are your mentees. Today, you officially receive a new permanent title, Doctor. The linguistic root of doctor is from the Latin word docere, which means to teach. This is both your permanent title and a reminder of your lifelong mandate, however you choose to interpret that. The whole world needs teachers in all kinds of ways. Every time someone calls you doctor, docere, I hope you will remember your obligation to keep disciplinary knowledge alive and to ensure it is transmitted to future generations. To lift up those around you, to be an agent of change and justice, to make a difference. For centuries, that has been our sacred mission as teachers, as scholars, and it is now yours as well. So congratulations to you. And now it is my honor and pleasure to welcome Dr. Renata Crawford, Miami University Ambassador and Professor of Physics.
Thank you. Congratulations to the doctoral class of 2024. This is a day full of pride for you, your family, your friends, and for us, because you have added to the knowledge and scholarship at Miami, and you're thereby leaving your legacy. Thank you for your commitment and your dedication. You will be missed. It is now my pleasure to introduce the distinguished Miami Graduate School alumna and our commencement speaker, Dr. Kimberly Haverkos. Dr. Haverkos is a distinguished academic leader and educator with a robust career at Thomas More University. Currently serving as Assistant Vice President for Academic and Student Success since April of 2024, Dr. Haverkos has held multiple key positions within the university, including Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, Dean of the College of Education and Health Sciences, and Director of Education Graduate Programs. Her tenure at Thomas More University has been marked by her commitment to academic excellence, student success, and community building. Dr. Haverkos earned a PhD in Educational Leadership from Miami University in 2012, a Master of Education in Secondary Education from the University of Cincinnati, and a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Xavier University. Her research interests encompass science education and gender, sustainability and environmental literacy in schools, integrating curricula, multicultural education, and values-based teaching and learning. Dr. Haverko's publications highlight her innovative teaching methods and focus on real-world applications of scientific inquiry. In addition to her academic and administrative roles, Dr. Haverkos has been an active participant in numerous professional organizations and conferences. Her workshop at a recent Lilly conference underscored her commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in education, as well as her collaborative approach to developing and implementing effective curricula. With a career dedicated to fostering academic and student success, Dr. Kimberly Haverkos continues to inspire and lead with a vision grounded in community, collaboration, and a passion for education. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Haverkos.
Thank you very much. That made me sound really special. Good afternoon, President Crawford, Dr. Crawford, Provost Mullinex, and deans, faculty, graduates, guests, and family. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today, and congratulations to the doctoral students on successfully completing your programs. I sat in a seat, much like you, 12 years ago during the August graduation, starting classes at my new job at Thomas More University on the Monday after graduation, so maybe perhaps some of you are in the same boat. And I have been at Thomas More for 12 years now. In my life prior to Thomas More, I need you to understand that I was a teacher, which means you can take the teacher out of the classroom, but not the classroom out of the teacher. And so I am going to require some participation today. So who here, graduates, faculty members, can tell me what Miami's mission is? Did you just fail your first test? How about one of the tenets from the Code for Love and Honor? Oh, we're going to talk about those today. All right, we're going to try another one. This one should be easier because I think there are some chemistry people who do some of this in here. Ready? Can somebody give me the definition for modeling? And no, I don't mean the catwalk kind. Right? I know. Anybody? Why do we use models? Do I have to call on people? Kathleen, where are you? I'm calling on you. Right? Modeling helps us see things, right? We use modeling all the time. We use it in science labs. We use it in the kitchen. We use it in architectural spaces, in dollhouses, in play. Right? We use modeling all the time. We model behaviors and styles when we feel curious, interested, or impelled to be like someone else. This can happen in systems too. Our democracy is modeled on things from elsewhere too. We create simplified, and I'm going to put that in quotes, simplified, mathematical descriptions of a system or process to better understand it. It helps us see something that we might not otherwise be able to attend to. But modeling only occurs when we pay attention to something. I have a very long drive to work every day, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. And recently I've been reading and listening to Catherine Price, who is the author of The Power of Fun and also How to Break Up with Your Phone. We could all take a lesson there. And she says, the first thing we need to acknowledge is that our lives are what we pay attention to. Indeed, our attention is the most valuable resource that we have. Think about it. We only experience what we pay attention to. Your choice of what to pay attention to in any given moment might not seem like a big deal, but taken together, these decisions are deeply consequential. You have spent the last months, and perhaps years, paying very close attention to a very specific thing, your dissertation work. And that focus has been extremely important to get you to this point. One of the best pieces of advice I got during my time at Miami was from Dr. Bazile. advice that I continue to share with others who are starting on their own doctoral journeys. When you start, you move from a tree trunk of an idea to a teeny tiny twig high up on the tree. You specify, you focus in deeply to see only that twig. I'm asking today that you come back down from that twig, to start using new muscles that allow you to see both the twig and the tree and the space around the tree. How many of you have experienced this on YouTube? How many of you have seen the video of the basketball players where you have to count the passes? Anybody? Good, good. Boy, we need some cultural education here. Okay, so the YouTuber, or the YouTube experience, you're asked to count the number of basketball passes that a team makes while you watch this video. When the team is done with the drill and you have counted the number of passes between the players, you're asked, did you see the gorilla run by in the background? By paying attention to one specific thing, we've missed the bigger picture altogether. We need to build the muscles to be able to see both the details that you've spent the last several months refining and the big picture. This idea of both and versus either or is an important one, I think, for us to all chew on. How many of you in this room, not just the graduates now, wanted to be both an astronaut and the President of the United States? Both a professional sports star and a rock star. Right? And how many of you were told, no, you can be either the sports star or the rock star, but you can't be both? We live in a world that pushes for either or thinking. You can either be smart or be popular. But we also live in a world that needs both and thinkers and doers to solve and engage with the complex and often contradictory problems, issues, and cultures that abound. So now I'm going to ask you to think about some modeling. Has anybody in here ever played cat's cradle? Good, I see some hands in the very back, right? Like everybody's familiar, you all with me, right? Like cat's cradle, right? Like we got that? So Donna Haraway, a professor in the history of consciousness, uses the imagery of cat's cradle to explain constantly changing relationships between multiple ideas, a both-and model for deeper thinking. Visually, I really like the imagery that this implies. Not only is it a game that requires many hands and possibly paws and limbs and roots and rocks, but it has depth and dimensionality unlike a flat spider web. It grows more complex over time. In a world that has an either-or bias, I believe we need that complexity. We need to add context and add layers to think through that both-and lens. When we imagine in this way, we see much more holistically our connection to others, humans, the earth, culture, history, and we realize that community and connection are the keys to the entire model. That it can't be an either-or, because we are connected to everything and everyone in constantly changing contexts. Those holding the strings are constantly changing and influencing the patterns that develop, creating messier and more complex connections of knots and spaces. Some people simply hold the string, exerting very little influence on the changing of patterns, but are still very implicated in the webs of connection and the eventual patterns that they create, while others still manipulate the strings, directly attempting to change patterns and create power. We also have to remember that non-human beings and non-living entities are part of the web as well, just as intricately woven into the fabric of community as humans, influencing patterns and connections as much, if not more, than their human counterparts. Only by exploring the relationships between these knots and spaces and strings can an understanding begin to develop of how differences and similarities affect, create, and sustain our community. And I don't think this community is hidden, but I think we are paying attention to the wrong things. We see the individuals rather than the entire picture. We forget the forest for the trees. We see only the basketball and not the gorilla that runs through the scene in the background. Our muscles for seeing both and are disused, and we need to begin to build them back up. Robin Wall Kimmerer is a Native American scientist who brings her knowledge of indigenous thinking to the lab, and she says, paying attention is a form of reciprocity with the living world, receiving gifts with open eyes and open heart. We can't experience those gifts unless we are paying attention to both and. We can't connect to the web of community that allows us to hold space for the both and, the big picture, and the details. Another podcast I listened to, Dr. Brene Brown, and she says, one of the greatest barriers to connection is the cultural importance we place on going it alone. Somehow we've come to equate success with not needing anyone. Many of us are willing to extend a helping hand, but we are very reluctant to reach out for help when we need it ourselves. It's as if we've divided the world into those who offer help and those who need help, when the truth is that we are both. Over the course of the last several years, you all have gone it alone through the process of earning your doctorate, but you have also needed help. You've leaned on your faculty, your friends, your family to support the work you've accomplished. You may have even needed to rely on a group of people, or maybe one person, to collect the data that you used in order to complete this journey. You have been attempting to go it alone with a lot of help. It is now your turn to be the helpers and realize that throughout life, we will always be both, the helpers and in need of help. That going it alone is a myth that doesn't connect with the life Miami has helped us build. And now we're back to the mission of Miami and the code of love and honor. Miami's mission asks us to use our skills and our knowledge, to have integrity and compassion, to be engaged citizens locally and globally. We recognize in those ideals that we have both an individual right to find where we belong and a responsibility to that space, that community, that belonging. And this is where we now have to pull in our values. Dr. Brene Brown, again, what we know matters, but who we are matters more. You've spent a lot of time over the last few years exploring what you know, even creating new knowledge for others to know. And this is important work. But if we lean into the idea of both and, then we have to remember who we are as well. Who we are and how we model to others who we are. That is where our values come into play. My two values are lifelong learning and eco-justice. Every experience I have is a learning experience. Sometimes it's a relearning. There are a lot of lessons that I have to learn over and over and over again. But that is learning nonetheless. And eco-justice links back to the cat's cradle idea. If we're all connected, then we need to be thinking about more than ourselves in any decision we make. But what does that actually mean in real life? It's all good to have a theoretical model, but how do I live them? Brene Brown again says, living into our values means that we do more than profess our values. We practice them. We walk our talk. We are clear about what we believe and hold important, and we take care that our intentions, words, thoughts, and behaviors align with those beliefs. So what are your values, and how are you living them? This is a key question. I taught seniors this past spring semester, and I asked them that question. They were teachers, and future nurses, and future athletic trainers, and not a one of them had an answer to that question. Some of you may have never thought about what your values are, particularly in terms of what it means to live those values out. The Code of Honor, of Love and Honor lists some that I hope you will reflect on. Dignity, inquiry, integrity, responsibility, diversity, morality. That code also asks us to lean into walking the talk. It states, I act through my words and deeds in ways that reflect these values and beliefs. So what are your values? And don't do the exercise that asks you to choose 10, because really, you're never going to remember those 10. Drill down. What are your top 2 or 1? But be careful if you choose one that you don't become too rigid in your ideologies and in your boundaries. I would suggest that this is the work of your time beyond graduation. You've already demonstrated that you are smart and dedicated students. You are here right now because of that. Now, we need you to lean into the community and practice the both and. Define your values and live them out. See the details and the big picture. Robin Wall Kimmerer says the most important thing each of us can know is our unique gift and how to use it in the world. Individuality is cherished and nurtured because in order for the whole to flourish, each of us has to be strong in who we are and carry our gifts with conviction so they can be shared with others. It is the both and of individual and community, not the either or, that we need to be modeling and valuing. Today's society needs us to use our knowledge and live into our values. Some of you are moving from here into roles as educators. Some of you will be researchers. Some of you will work in private entities and others in public spaces. As you take up your place in the world, remember the idea of the cat's cradle, the strings, spaces, nodes that you interact with and shift every day. Reflect on the past, be here in the now and the present, and plant seeds for the future. I will leave you with a final quote. It is my favorite quote, but it is also anonymous. All of the flowers of all of the tomorrows are in the seeds of today. Graduates, congratulations on your success today. You are holding those seeds. We can't wait to see what kind of garden you make with them for tomorrow. Thank you.
Dr. Havakos, thank you for an incredible speech and words of wisdom for our graduates, families, and faculty. We're extremely proud of your accomplishments, and we look forward to hearing more about you in the future. We would like to give you a small gift. I'll use a loud voice, but just to thank you for coming. You may have noticed our dress as we entered this afternoon. The academic costume, which makes the commencement procession so colorful, is as old as universities, more than 800 years old. It goes back to the days when students were members of the minor clergy and wore monkish gowns and hoods. In those days of unheated classrooms, the hood served a very practical purpose. When the hood was not pulled over the head for warmth, the tip at the end of the hood served as a convenient pocket to carry items such as reading and writing materials, and as legend tells, a snack or a discreet beverage. Notice that we didn't give you your hoods yet either, graduates. So, both the gown and hood indicate the degree to be received or held by the wearer. The gown for a doctoral degree has bell-shaped sleeves, is faced down the front with velvet, and has 3 velvet crossbars on each sleeve. In the United States, the hood is edged with a velvet in a color representing the type of degree received and is lined in silk with the colors of the university conferring the degree. For example, my hood is edged with dark blue for the Doctor of Philosophy degree and is lined with blue and orange for my alma mater, the University of Virginia. Miami's doctoral's hoods are edged with dark blue for the Doctor of Philosophy or light blue for the Doctor of Education, and are lined, of course, with red and white. In today's ceremony, each graduate will be presented with their doctoral hood as a keepsake, and so that when they wear their gowns and hoods as faculty members, they will join the ranks of a procession that displays their degree and Miami University colors with pride. Now I have the pleasure of presenting the candidates for the doctoral degree. Will the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy and for the Doctor of Education degrees please stand as you are able and be recognized? It is my distinct honor to present these graduates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education. The doctoral degree is the highest academic degree and culminates a minimum of 4 years and often many more. I saw many of your petitions of study and research beyond the baccalaureate. After the completion of formal coursework, the candidate must pass comprehensive written and oral exams in the field of study and then write and defend a dissertation that makes an original scholarly contribution to the discipline. Each of these candidates has completed all of the requirements for his, her, or their degree, and I present these future scholars and leaders in science, education, social science, and humanities to you with pride. All attendees, advisors, and doctoral students shall remain seated until the student's name is called and appears on the screen, so you guys can sit down just for a minute. When the student's name is called, the doctoral student and advisor should proceed to the platform for the individual hooding. After hooding, each student may proceed to the designated location to get their pictures taken. You'll be shown where before returning to your seats. Eugene Eldon Blaylock, EDD in Educational Leadership, Major Professor and Hooding Professor, Dr. Joel Moline. Jamie Renee Simpson, EDD in Educational Leadership, Major Professors Dr. Joel Moline and Guy Parmesan, Hooding Professor Dr. Joel Moline. Amy White, EDD in Educational Leadership, Major and Hooding Professor, Dr. Kathleen Knight Abowitz. Muna Ahmed Al-Tawari, PhD in Educational Leadership, Major Professor Dr. Lisa Weems, Hooding Professor Dr. Joel Moline. Allison Bates, PhD in Chemistry, Major and Hooding Professor, Dr. Gary Lorigan. Vipul Batra, PhD in chemistry, major in hooding professor, Dr. David Tierney. Cerelia Bazell, PhD in educational leadership, major in hooding professor, Dr. Denise Talaferro Bazell. Philip Daniel Bose, PhD in chemistry, major in hooding professor, Dr. Neil Danielson. Lauren Kelly Janora Brassfield, PhD in Student Affairs and Higher Education, major in hooding professor, Dr. Catherine Cho. Desol Choi, PhD in English, major in hooding professor, Dr. Anita Manure. Alan James Collins, PhD in psychology, major in hooding professor, Dr. Robin Thomas. Akanksha Das, PhD, psychology, major professors, Dr. Rosemary Ward and Dr. Aaron Luby, hooding professor, Dr. Rosemary Ward. Nika Sophia Goldman, PhD in psychology, major professors Dr. Catherine Abbott and Dr. Aaron Luby, hooding professor Dr. Aaron Luby. And Dr. Catherine Abbott. Amin Ul Islam, PhD in microbiology, major professors Dr. Timothy Wilson and Dr. Louis Actis, hooding professor Dr. Louis Actis. Kurt Eugene Johnson, PhD in educational leadership, major in hooding professor Dr. Kate Rumanier. Nicole Marie LaPlena, PhD in psychology, major and hooding professor, Dr. Terry Mesman. Natalie Marie Perkins, PhD in Psychology, Major Professors Dr. Elizabeth Keel and Dr. April Smith, Hooding Professor Dr. Elizabeth Keel. Karen Lynn Sanders Yates, PhD in Educational Leadership, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Kate Rumanier. Valerie Lynn Shelsha, PhD in Psychology, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Aaron Luby. Jessica DiMatteo Schuler, PhD in Educational Leadership, Major Professors Dr. Kate Rumanier and Jason Lane, and Hooding Professor Dr. Kate Rumanier. Carrie Ann Sherritt, PhD in Biology, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Michael Vanny. Jing Tan, PhD in Educational Leadership, Major Professor Dr. Joel Moline, Hooding Professors Dr. Joel Moline and Dr. Thomas Petter. LeCount J. Togans III, PhD in Psychology, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Alan McConnell. Erin Elizabeth Unruh, PhD in Cell Molecular and Structural Biology, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Andrea Kravitz. Anil Upreti, PhD in Cell Molecular and Structural Biology, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Michael Robinson. Shiwanka Wana Sinha, PhD in Chemistry, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Dominic Konkolowitz. Caitlin Elizabeth Wargall Fisk, PhD in Psychology, Major in Hooding Professor Dr. Paul Flaspohler. Ziyahu Shu, PhD in Social Gerontology, Major Professor Dr. Robert Applebaum, Hooding Professor Dr. Scott Brown.
Well, let's give one real big round of applause for all of our brand new doctorate. Yeah? A big congratulations to all of you for this big moment in your lives. I know you waited a long time for it, and we're so proud and happy that you made this achievement. And congratulations to all your family who's with us today. I know they supported you along the way. And a big congratulations to all our advisors here at Miami University who supported you. So, since you didn't do so well on the first test, you have one more test. I think it's going to be pretty easy. So, are you ready? So please stand if you're able. By the power vested in me by the state of Ohio, the Board of Trustees of Miami University, and the faculty, I hereby confer upon you today the degree of doctorate. Congratulations. And for all of those that could not join us today in person, we confer their degree in absentia. So give them a big round of applause as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your brand new class of Miami University's newest doctorates, congratulations. Thank you.
You guys can be seated. We're almost done. I know you're ready to celebrate. This concludes the 2024 doctoral hooding and graduation ceremony. I want to thank the graduate school staff and Miami staff for organizing and producing this ceremony. I want to congratulate the faculty mentors, my colleagues, and the family members who have supported these graduate students in their careers. I especially want to congratulate the graduates for their hard work and perseverance. Under normal circumstances, earning a doctoral degree is very difficult. However, in these last 4 years, your accomplishments deserve an even greater respect. Fewer than 2% of all Americans earn a doctoral degree, so each of you now is a member of an honored community. Each of you has the responsibility to contribute to the betterment of humankind as well as to the natural environment from Oxford, Ohio, and throughout the world. You're the next generation of scholars and leaders in science, education, social sciences, and humanities. We need your talents, your work ethic, and intelligence to tackle the many challenges of our world. We look forward to hearing and reading about the great things that you will do. So I used to read Dr. Seuss to my kids at bedtime, and there was one book that I particularly loved, and you probably will know it as soon as that, but one thing I'd just like to quote is, "So be your name Bucksbaum, Bixby, or Bray, or Mordecai, Alley, Van Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." Best wishes to all of you. Love and honor. So please stand if you're able so we can now sing together the Miami University Alma Mater. After the Alma Mater, we will proceed with the processional. The platform party will recess first, followed by faculty advisors. Each graduate and their group of attendees will process one group at a time, beginning with the back rows. So, the Alma Mater.